drama in the footballing financial world, and new rules have been agreed for everything. But what does this mean? Seeing as though we're the Fixing Football Podcast, award-nominated Fixing Football Podcast, we thought it was best to try and explain it to some people, including ourselves a little bit. Here with me, as always, it's Liam O'Meara and Scott Naylor.
Hello.
I am Martin Naylor, and this is the Fixing Football Podcast. This is what we're here for. We're hopefully going to get into some of the changes that will be coming up, whether it be player wages or the new financial rules that won't result in us changing our name from the FFP to whatever the new thing's going to be. And then we've got loads of other Premier League stuff to talk about. But first, Liam O'Meara. We were at the awards this week, the Football Content Awards. How did you find it?
Yeah, it was a good night, as it was the year before. I feel like Ellen Road wasn't as good a venue, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, to put it mildly, to be completely honest. I think like it was a little bit underwhelming compared to Tottenham, but great night. Good to see some people that we saw the year before as well. Got to meet a hero in the United Strand guy. Yeah, so that was fun. No, it was a
hero.
Shit.
Very strong words.
Let's try
Hero.
Try to see him. I'd just say it was a good night. It was quite underwhelming, if I'm being honest. But I don't want to say that, because that's not good content, is it? You don't say that. I was it. Yeah, it was pretty shit, to be honest.
I thought yeah, you did get drunk. It was, I thought everyone was, the thing is, everyone was dead good. We had a decent table as well. Some lads from Olympiacos were on our table. Who were the lads sat next to you? I forgot already.
Can't remember what he did. A lot of lads next to you were his mates.
Oh,
he was a
yeah,
Spurs
content
fan.
creator.
He was a
Spurs
yeah. Film yourself at the ground type. Young lad.
And then a Celtic State of Mind as well, which is one of the big ones. He won a Hall of Fame award. So
Hall of Fame. Damn, I didn't realise it had been going on that long.
Good few years now, yeah. Yeah, really nice guys. Hopefully we can do something with them a little bit in the future. Some good winners, some worthy winners, some unworthy winners like Liam's hero.
The United Strand.
I thought the venue was cool-ish. It was in Leeds, so it was easier for us to get there. Host was lovely, Nicole from Arsenal and stuff. Yeah, it was nice. Saw some cool people and some non-cool people.
Yeah,
like
quite
that.
a lot of not cool people. I think that's what
A lot
of annoying people. I think that's what I took away from it.
Seriously,
sounds like a great networking event. Sounds like you fucking hated everyone.
Yeah, I realised I realised I might be part of the problem. Which I've had to face quite a lot in the past. And
is it Liam has gone on record networking? It's my thing, and then he gets there, he goes, Martin, you go.
yeah, got nothing in common with anyone.
You did it, but Liam does know like one good fact about every football club. Like we ran into someone from Southend. We were speaking to her for a while, and Liam goes, "Well, what's going on with such and such a thing?" Like just some random fact, and I'm Wikipedia in Southend United, like trying to work out what they are.
Yeah, I like football clubs, just not necessarily people around football.
Yeah.
Although the lady from Southend, Sports Trust, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was lovely. They're obviously on the way back, if you will, from issues that they had with 2 or 3 different owners, actually. So
Yeah.
that was good to catch up. Always good to hear a different point of view.
Mostly nice people. I feel like there's a big trend of like just content creators who go around and film themselves at the stadium, which is it is football media, if you will, but it's certainly not our style. Or
filling football boots with coffee and other shite. I can't understand who's watching that, but what do I know? I'm just one guy.
Yeah. At least you voted for the right one to win.
I did.
Unfortunately.
I voted for journalistic integrity is what I voted for.
So, right. Liam, big news this week. There's been some new changes with football financial rules. That is, there's been the player wages, the anchoring, and also the change from PSR, FFP, however you will, into the squad cost ratio style, which is, I think, is a bit more based on a UEFA thing. whichever one you want to take a stab at first, let's go and attack it and let's get this
I think
fixed.
Before we get stuck in, I think it's good to talk about why they're looking to make changes on it. And
Which one? Which one should we talk about?
Well, we'll talk about the reason of making changes first to the financial rules, because that in itself is an action to move away from PSR. Just when everyone was starting to call it PSR instead of FFP, which was good for our brand. So it was But anyway, the move has come from a lot of pressure on clubs in regards to meeting the rules, which were not variable and have been stuck at that. I think it's 105 million losses over 3 years.
Yeah.
It's been fixed at that now for some time. And it's not, the rule doesn't move. So it was becoming unsustainable for a lot of clubs with regard to the Premier League wanting to maintain its position as the superior force of world football in terms of the wages that they can offer and competitive football, not just wages, also the product. So they had to address it. And also you had that issue of UEFA having slightly different rules, which you mentioned there, Martin, and increasingly the amount of clubs in England that are playing in Europe, which is getting to the point of England in Europe, which is getting to the point of it's looking like 9 a season, up 10 a season. So essentially you're having two different set of books to match two different set of rules, and it was becoming messy, and a lot of clubs were concerned about. And then there were loads of different clubs with different agendas, and this is where we'll start talking about the two different options that were discussed, but there was probably more than that. They're just the two that we know about. In that you've got clubs at the top that want to maintain their position at the top. You've got clubs at the bottom who want to limit the wages that can be spent to increase their ability to potentially not have to overspend to stay up. And if they do that, they can go down and still be sustainable. So they've got theirs. And then you've got the middle one, which is the one that gets, I think, the most noise and traction, is this aspirational type club. Villas, Forest, Newcastle types that have got money to burn and Wolves previously, not now, but Wolves were previously, who've got money to burn and can't enter that because of the current version of PSR. So there's a lot of different motivations as to why this meeting took place.
Right. I'm just going to outline. I've had one of the internet bots do some research for me. This just helps. This is basically what I was thinking. It just puts it into words that I can...
Basically what we do for the podcast.
Say. Squad cost ratio. So this is to replace the old PSR. Under SCR, so we're going to go for it now. Let's try and remember these. Clubs on-pitch spending, and that's wages, transfers, agents' fees, is limited to 85% of football-related revenue, plus net profits and loss on player sales. Right, so get your financial brains around this one for a second. I've just got a few more points. So then there's also, and this helps them clubs that you were just mentioning, Liam, multi-year allowances. So clubs can exceed this 85%, what they call in a green threshold, up to 30% of that. So, right, if they use this, they have to pay like a levy, like a tax.
Or like a luxury tax that you get in the NBA.
The NBA have this, And then once that's fully used, they have to go back down, or then sporting sanctions, such as points deductions, will be in place. And I think that's important that they outline that right now, that sporting sanctions would be in place, because this is one of the arguments we've seen with the City stuff, and then what was happened with like Everton and Nottingham Forest, where it was slightly different, where it sort of it did go down to points in the end, but then there was talk of fines and talk of
Chelsea's a big one
for
that, aren't they? With how, not to sort of
exactly
with how they've operated in Europe, because we'll
get to them.
Yeah.
And there's also in-season monitoring. So I don't know if this is going to be part of the regulator as well, who's going to be involved with parts of this.
Probably not, I would think. Probably not.
But importantly, one thing that they did outline is clubs won't be allowed to sell capital assets like hotels, like the women's team, like the training ground, back to themselves or to a related company, just to boost that. That's now closed.
Any examples of any clubs that have been doing
I'm trying to think of one in particular that's really like tipping my tongue thing.
I've not heard of any clubs doing that. I think most clubs have kept their noses clean.
Villa, I think Villa did it, didn't they, recently?
Villa scum. Can't believe they were doing it. Absolute disgrace.
So on top of this as well, Liam, I mean, first of all, are you both in favour of these changes? Do you think it's basically the same with a bit more leverage for the bigger clubs and also making it easy to understand the punishments?
I'll be honest, right? I'm not in favour of any squad cost controls. To be completely honest, I find it's such a weird problem because it's something I see all the different sides of all the time, and I can never really decide where I fall on it because I do think that if you've got the money, who's the Premier League or to tell you how to spend your money? And everyone turned into a socialist when it comes to football, and this idea of it's just a weird. I think like this idea of financial fair play. Like, what does that actually mean? Like,
yeah, I agree. And just to play devil's advocate, like because I've been, although I would hate to see it, but I am in favour of someone like Newcastle just being able to spend their riches and being able to go like. Same with when Abramovich came in, he sort of ruined it for everyone a little bit, but also you've got the money, go and do the thing, and
who's losing out? Like, who's it protecting? Who's losing out? And the idea that it pushes everything up in price, it's really only the TV deals that do that. And that money's going.
Like the devil's advocate here would say, well, this is to keep the competition as open as possible, if that makes sense. You're trying to not curtail the big guys too much while also give something back to create more of a competition around, because the competition itself, and we were speaking about this through last week, Liam, but the pyramid itself is the English product, is the game. The competition is the biggest product here, not Erling Haaland or not Man City or not, superstars or whatever you want to call it. The competition of the Premier League is the main asset that football has.
Yeah, and I think this is where the anchoring's the most important part, isn't it? Like you say, because the idea of dragging it's such a negative word as well, anchoring. The idea of literally like it has such negative connotations of holding people back rather than bringing people with you, which is what But I kind of understand it. I'll just be completely straight. That horse bolted 25 years ago. Like the best thing that you can do, I think, to protect the pyramid is more about distribution of TV money, and that kind of stuff is more important. But I just don't think that's what this is about. Ultimately, I think this is all about ultimately the self-interest of each of the clubs trying to create the best set of circumstances for them to achieve or earn the most money. And I think that's all this is always going to be about, because any kind of democracy or member-based voting system ultimately comes down to that.
The old rules were also voted on by everyone, so why change? So this has to be positive for everyone, at least 14 of them, to have made this change. So what are we thinking here with the winners and losers of this scenario?
Question. I think there's a few reasons why it had to change now. I think the old limit was becoming unsustainable. I think that's a big part of it. I also think that with the regulator coming in, the likelihood of them having to agree a new distribution deal with the EFL draws ever closer, really. So they're probably looking to try and get their ducks in a row with that, allowing for creating a system that allows them to spend beyond what the deals, because they're going to be potentially losing money as a result of that. That could be playing into part of it. I also think maybe they're concerned about the sanction element as well. So I think the idea that there's two sets of rules with UEFA is probably a big part of this. And you look at, not to keep bringing Chelsea up here, but if you look at the way Chelsea have been able to essentially pay off fines for very similar offences as in the Premier League, then you see Forest getting done for something that seems so incomparably small. So there has to be consistency. And I think we'll say loopholes, because that's essentially what they were. Things that have been overrules, as someone else might call them. Like how Chelsea have done it, it's just lining that up with the rules of Europe, because they didn't get away with that in Europe because they're not allowed to, because that's strictly written out. And it's actually only the Premier League that allows that. In the EFL, you can't do that with selling your assets. It was just the Premier League that had that rule in place.
Scott, what are your thoughts? Thoughts on these changes? Are they for the good? Are they for the good?
I think the problem with anything, and Liam made a good point that the horse bolted a long time ago. I think no matter which set of rules that you come up with, and which there is never going to be a way that makes this fair. There's never going to be a way to do this where the top clubs can keep spending whatever they want and keep in their stronghold, and then the clubs at the bottom are going to get equal funding and be able to push the way up the table. You're not going to be able to find a way that pleases everybody. All you can really do, especially when the toothpaste is out the tube a long time ago, and you kind of just you're picking up the pieces and you're trying to stick it all back together in a way that kind of works. And I think aligning them more with UEFA's rules, which I think this brings it as close as maybe we can get it. I'm sure there'll be tweaks as we go. I think that's probably the right way. It doesn't make sense to have two sets of rules, as Liam alluded to there. You know, the Chelsea example is a great one because we were very much able to satisfy the Premier League, but not UEFA. And it led to a really frustrating set of restrictions, all self-inflicted. We can't really have any complaints about it. But I think changing the rules now, it's clearly for the club's own interests. And like you said, enough of them voted for it. But realistically, there's no perfect system that's coming along to save the day. So you may as well take the thing that works the best for now and riding it. And a bit like what we did with PSR. We took PSR and we rode it until the wheels fell off. And now the wheels have fallen off. We've got someone else. And I'm sure in a few years, SCR will be gone and some brain box will come up with something else.
I asked our friendly chatbot to give me some predicted winners and losers from this. And the results sort of reflect the last two seasons of the Premier League where we saw the top two go up and down 2 seasons. The newly promoted teams go straight back down 2 years in a row. So we've had a sustained 17 teams. And it's no surprise why rules are passing that favour them 17 teams. Let's chuck Wolves and West Ham and whoever else that you want at the bottom of that list. But they've still Premier League money now sustained for a great amount of time during a big period of growth. I mean, winners and losers predicted is the top revenue. The big clubs are always going to be safe. The high revenues give them a lot of headroom. The 30% buffer, they're always just going to pass the SSR. That's the regulatory rules. I think where it benefits is the ambitious mid-table clubs, your Brightons, Forest, even West Ham, if they want to really chuck some money behind it, with that 30% increase that they're allowed to spend, there is that option where they can go for it. And if the books don't line up, then they have to drop back down.
Yeah. It reminds me very much that sort of having that overage, like that luxury tax, it does remind me very much of in the NBA. I've seen a lot of teams, they go for this win now mentality, and they'll basically sign the best 3 players that they possibly can to the most maximum money. And it might be like a 2-year contract, like nothing that ties them down. But it's like we've paid you guys, like mercenaries basically. We're paying you the top dollar to come in and win the league for us this year. And then if it doesn't work, they disband the whole team and they go back to rebuild mode and they draft some kids and they go from there. So it kind of reminds me of...
Houston tried that not so long ago, I think.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think most of the teams, since this whole like big 3 thing happened with the Miami Heat in 2005 or 6 or whatever it was. Since then, most teams have pretty much tried it. I think the Knicks have tried it. The Celtics have certainly tried it. The Mavericks have tried it with varying degrees of success. So I think what I do like is that, like you said, a Newcastle, hopefully, as much as I don't like Newcastle, which I hope is well documented, and if it's not, I'll make a point of it. It would be nice if they could say, get the checkbook out and bring in, when they first got bought by Saudi, it was like, oh, they're going to bring Mbappe in, they're going to bring fucking whoever else in. Yeah, cool. Like, do it, because that's how you would then have someone be able to break into that upper echelon, and that's just better for English football, I think.
Where people are going to struggle, or clubs are going to struggle, is obviously the smaller ones, the ones who are trying to go for it, their aggressive need to spend to stay up could be the downfall, because at the end of the day, this is a horrible world that we live in where 3 teams go down again and then face absolute peril if they've overspent. So maybe there's some control to be fixed in that further down the line, but I think we'll have to see how this one plays out. Another one where that was highlighted to me was clubs that are heavily in debt, like your Man United, for example, who have been sustainably running on these big debts for a long time. Any push over them, say another 2 or 3 seasons under Amorim and finishing 16th and stuff, might be really, really detrimental to any future growth for them. Can we just touch on anchoring and play wages for a second before we do that? Because that was another vote that went through this week that didn't pass. And that was effectively a wage cap. But Liam, where do you stand on anchoring and how that makes it's basically a hard cap on how much clubs can spend on wages?
The problem with it is the wage cap element. I just don't see that ever getting through.
Scott, do you ever see a wage cap coming in the Premier League?
No. Well,
Again,
they can't get them in the EFL. They've tried recently with the EFL and they couldn't get it in. And I think they're trying again soon, actually. I think there's rumours of League One trying to get a wage cap in there. But the PFA will just...
Too late.
Won't do it.
Yeah.
I'll explain what the proposed rules were if you don't actually know. But it was specifically to limit the spending to 5 times the central revenue. So that's broadcast and prize money. So that's the guaranteed money, if you will. So 5 times the broadcast and prize money of the lowest earning club prize. Or
of the
17th.
year before, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, the example I'm giving here, in 24-25, Southampton got about 109.2 million in central distribution. So that would allow a club to spend 550 million on player wages. That seems like a real high ceiling. I'm not sure what it's around at the moment, but 500 million sounds high for a wage bill in the Premier League. I know it's easy to chuck Man United and Chelsea, a couple £100,000 a week's in there. Even Arsenal City, big spenders, Liverpool, massively big spenders in terms of wages. That seems high, but I think it's just the idea of a cap at all. It's more of the idea of it rather than the reality of it here.
I think you start getting into realms of that, and I think one of the main reasons that didn't get passed is concerns around how competitive does that then make the Premier League, this stranglehold that the Premier League has over European football, basically. What that basically starts to slip if you put these kind of things in place. And it's kind of one of those weird things. I think I put this question to you, Liam, maybe a couple of weeks ago about Hearts and Celtic. And it was like for the good of Scottish football, is it important that Hearts win the league? And the answer was yes. Like, if we're just talking for the good of the game. And I feel like this is kind of similar. If you could bring other leagues closer to the Premier League, that's better for football. It's better for all of us as a worldwide sport. But the Premier League's never going to put rules in place that make that a reality. As much as I would love Serie A and La Liga to actually be on par with the Premier League, it'd give other leagues. You could see international transfers going through a lot more frequently. You'd have a bigger market to sell your players to.
Turkey's voting for Christmas, as Simon Jordan would say.
He's not wrong. Yeah, he's not wrong.
The best example is to look at La Liga. That 10, 15 years ago was the best league in the world. And now it isn't. And they have their own, in effect, wage cap based on financial performance over the previous years. I'm not going to pretend I know that system inside out, but it's based on financial performance, isn't it? And this is the reason Messi had to leave at the time, wasn't it? Because they couldn't afford to keep him anymore. Essentially, Barcelona were completely hamstrung. The world against Barcelona, as it always is. So
exactly what I thought.
So I mean, you're quite right. The Premier League's never going to go for that. And I think another part of it that's quite important is how much appetite is there in the Premier League for potential legal cases? Because they've been quite busy with that in the last few months and years. So I imagine the PFA had already said quite vocally that they were going to legally challenge any kind of anchoring on the basis that it would be in effect a salary cap. So could they be bothered with that? And I think third point on it, Martin, and you'll know a bit more about this, was your mate Tim Lewis was the big driving force behind potential anchoring, wasn't he? And we touched on this last week, where he wasn't necessarily at front and centre of the Rebel Alliance anymore, really trying to push that through.
Well, I think the big clubs were, in order to sort of put a curb on any form of big spending, but like while Tim Lewis was a proponent of it, and it's probably why the proposal was so high in terms of that figure, the cap at all was obviously going to be a big issue with the PFA and stuff like that, and they were already looking at coming towards the Premier League with sanctions or God knows what else. You could just imagine. But yeah, Tim Lewis also being a number one enemy of Man City, and a very outspoken member by all accounts. If you listen to Kieran Maguire or Duncan Castles, they'll tell you that Tim Lewis and Daniel Levy at the time were both the loudest voices in the room when it came to a Premier League meeting. And certainly when it came to anything versus Man City, mainly because Tim Lewis, by all accounts, is a stickler for the rules. And also...
the Darth Vader of the Red Cartel, if you will, wasn't he?
But also a little, like, didn't want City to succeed. All these executives come in with...
Can relate to that, by the way.
All them executives come in with their club's favour in mind and will all generally vote. No one has mates. City aren't Chelsea's mates. They're just interests are slightly aligned sometimes, along with Newcastle, because their ownership comes from a similar ethos, if you will, where we have big money and big ideas and we want to do this big thing. Where other clubs, and maybe more traditional clubs in the way that they are ran and certainly owned, are obviously against that. Call them the Red Cartel, if you will. That is what it is. And Tim Lewis seemed to be leading.
Speaking of no mates, which of the clubs in the Premier League do you reckon is the most you've got no mates club? I would say West Ham. Yeah, definitely West Ham. Yeah,
West Ham. I put Leeds in there as well.
Yeah, Leeds.
I think
just
Liverpool are quite high in there. Yeah, but I'd say it's definitely West Ham.
But listen, these aren't my words. I listen to these podcasts that not like you've put me on into the past, Liam, but like Man United and Liverpool generally very quiet in these meetings. I don't know who's leaking this sort of thing, and it always seemingly was Tim Lewis and Daniel Levy leading the charge. Certainly against Man City, but in general things as well. And the smaller clubs like a Bournemouth, if you will, and they come with a representative of the consortium, and Fulham, if you will, as well. And they'll oh, thank God that guy who's got an Arsenal badge on, who is shouting the loudest at the other guy who's breaking the rules. Thank God we can just get behind him and jump on that, and that's generally the way it went. So that's why we'll generally probably be always all right when it comes to rules in the Premier League.
It is good in life to get someone to fight your battles for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's fair play to. That's, again, something I can get behind from other members of the Premier League. There, like someone else is going to do all the grafting for you. You can just turn and go, yeah, it's all right.
Listen, let's tie a bow in this one. We haven't fixed anything, but we're hoping the Premier League have done something for us here. We've been moaning about FFP, PSR. We've been going back and forth on it, whether it's right, wrong, whatever, who it benefits the most. Red Cartel or not, these rules are hopefully here for the better and will allow more spending throughout the league, I think. So this one might be, let's call it fixed for now. What are we saying? Yes? No? You thought that was a natural break and I should just end it?
We will see.
To be confirmed.
We will see.
To be confirmed. We will find out.
Thank you everyone who voted for us for the Football Content Awards. One of the guys from the organisation told us how close it was in pretty much every category. So as long as it weren't just my votes propping us up, and Scott's and maybe one from Luke, some guy I heard of one time. Yeah, so thank you very much. We had a great night. We want to be around it. We've got a lot more things coming up from the podcast.
Big puns.
Not big things coming. We don't say that.
Yeah, big things coming, guys.
Well, we'll stay with us. We've got some stuff coming up after this short break. And we are super back now. If you have liking anything on this podcast so far, you can find all the information to follow us, support us, do all that nice stuff, like, share, subscribe. You can find all the information at fixingfootballpodcast.com. That being said, and all the formalities out of the way, the return of football was back this week, and it is so good. Liam, where would you like to start?
Let's just get it out of the way. Let's start at the Emirates.
Get this bullshit over with.
Arsenal beat Tottenham 4-1 if no one's seen it. Future Spurs-bound Eberechi with a hat-trick. Glorious hat-trick. It's a fantastic match. Liam was speaking before the match, before the podcast started, Scott, about whether you even want to win a derby like that. I was just like, yeah.
What? What
Yeah,
do
you want to
mean?
smash them.
Yeah.
You want to demoralise them,
Yeah,
make them
5-0.
question their own existence.
Yeah, 5-0 every time. Utter domination.
I think. Do you know why I said that? I watched 2 derbies on Sunday, and like there were 2 massive games, and they were sort of both horrendously one-sided. I almost felt sorry for the other team. First with the Steel City derby, it was like basically like a Ferrari against like Luke on his moped, and it was like, and sorry, Sheffield United versus Sheffield Wednesday, and it was like Sheffield United were giving it at the end like they'd won the Premier League, and it was like, well done, he's 13. Like they were,
Yeah.
and so that looked a bit. And don't get me wrong, it's great to beat your rivals. I get it. So I kind of let it go, and I was like, all right, fine. Chris Wilder gets under my skin, so maybe it's just that. Don't like seeing him happy. So then that happened, and then your game happened, and I was just like, it feels the same. Like it feels like I'm watching someone be tortured live on like, and I'm like,
Spurs were. Let's just some analysis, mate. Is there an earthquake happening at your end? What's going on here?
Sorry.
You're bouncing all over.
sorry.
Yeah, great win, good performance. Thought players like Trossard was great. Mourinho did a great job. I thought Zubimendi was class. I just thought it was everywhere. He's so much more mobile than I give him credit for coming in. I thought he'd be very much just like a fresher Jorginho, if you will. And he is all that, but he's so much more as well. He gives loads to the game. I'm so impressed with him. I'm glad I had my doubts. But yeah, Scott, you want to beat them every week, don't you?
God, yeah. Like, you want to absolutely pummel Tottenham into the ground at every opportunity that you can get.
And I
And I-
think it's glad. I did foresee this on last week's episode about Richarlison running off into the corner scoring, but like the fact that he got maybe the goal of the season and no one celebrated or no one's asked was just
Isn't it
brilliant.
twice now that Raya's been done from the halfway line? Like, did it
Why-
get done in pre-season as well?
by Tottenham.
Yeah, was it Spurs?
No, it was
Fucking hell.
that was definitely a plan and deliberate. By the
Yeah,
way, like
100%. It was like, we've done this before.
yeah, you could tell. He didn't even look up. He just
Perhaps half.
Fit-
Yeah.
both sat up.
I was
straight
thinking
away.
this, that with Liam, you'll remember them matches when you're younger when it's like you'll nudge someone and be like, that keeper's always off his line.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean? And I've scored them. I've
yeah.
taken many a
everyone-
pot shot where it's
Especially
like,
with the position we would play, you'd get
Yeah.
get that option once again, and,
You'd get, like,
and you'd
nail
know
it.
if the keeper
he's
was
off his
someone-
line in.
Yeah,
He's off his line all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, right, go. So then you just don't go. You just think as soon as it rolls, like
don't
the
need to look.
Beckham Wimbledon one, you just know it's rolling. I'm not even looking up. I'm just going for it.
Got fucking, yeah.
So that happens. That's going to happen. I don't care. We should smash him 4 past. Like, so that's the start of a tricky week for us. We have got Bayern Munich in the week at home, and then a trip to the Bridge. Scott, you was at the Burnley game this weekend.
I was taken in live football as, a Fixing Football podcast member. I am wont to do. And so, yeah, I was lucky enough to get some tickets to go, well, not lucky to go to Turf Moor, but lucky to go and see Chelsea.
Yeah,
It was a cold, wet, windy, horrible day in Burnley.
that's all there
And-
is. That's all they've got.
Yeah, they don't do any other kind of day, I don't think. I think that's pretty much all you get. But the early kickoff, straight after an international break, half of our team's been flying in from South America. I think Caicedo only got back on like Thursday night or whatever. So it's like, when you hear all those things, and you just think, fuck's sake, like, it's just a horrible, sweaty game that you just don't want. Like, it's one of those that can really trip you up. It turned out to be a good visit. It reminded me a bit of the Wolves game in that the first 30, 40 minutes were a bit dull and a bit slow. But I kind of just feel like that's just football under Maresca in the sense of he likes to... He's more than happy to have his team keep possession and not really force it. But I notice I don't mind. It's the kind of game that if I'm watching it at home, I'm relaxed because we've got loads of possession. The chances are going to come. When you're in the crowd, you can feel the anxiety build more the live crowd. I don't know if it's just Chelsea. I'm sure all the fans are like this, but there's just every pass that doesn't quite work and every move that doesn't quite work. It's like world's ended. It's like it's a much smaller margin for patience in the stands that I noticed. So yeah, it was a fairly routine win in the end, but I do want to just cover off one thing quickly, and it's Pedro Neto. It was a really weird feeling I was left with afterwards, in the sense of, do you know, sometimes you think, I didn't actually rate that player, but now I've seen him live, I get the hype. For me, it was the reverse of that. It was like, I've always rated him on TV, but he divides Chelsea fans' opinions quite a lot, Pedro Neto. There's a lot of Chelsea fans who aren't keen on him.
All right.
And I've always rated him, but then when I saw him live, I was like, the fuck's this guy doing? And it was weird, like, I don't know if you've seen our second goal and the pass he plays through to Mark Gue.
Yeah.
He basically gets released from basically a corner. I think it was a corner or just a Burnley attack, and he gets released, and he's not through, but he's on the halfway line with basically one Burnley defender in front of him. And he cuts inside. And in the stands, I remember audibly going, oh, for fuck's sake, like, just, he's rapid, just fucking go. Like, what are you doing? But on TV, that cut inside basically took two defenders out of the game and left a clear through ball for Mark Gue. And it was absolutely the right decision. And it was really bizarre that in the moment watching it, I was like, you fucking idiot. Why have you done that? But then we scored from the result. Obviously, it was great play from Gue to set Fernandes up for the winner. But it was a really weird phenomenon. But I just think I wanted to shout him out because I think that he gets a hard rap from Chelsea fans because his output isn't always amazing. He works really hard, but you don't get a lot of goals and assists from effectively one of your forwards who cost 60 million quid last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's already matched last season's goal tally. And I think he's our top scorer in the Premier League this year. And I think he's fucking excellent. And I think that I can understand why live crowds get on his case, because he does things when you're watching it and you're like, why have you done that? Why don't you just take your guy on? But then when you watch it back, it's like, oh, he's almost seen the vision. It's like the reverse of how you can see everything from the stands and the players can't. He's sort of got it the other way around. It was really, really strange, but I thought he was top draw. And a big shout for Andre Santos as well. He was absolutely top class. Didn't even miss Caicedo.
I'm hearing Chelsea fans are raving about Andre Santos. Liam, let's have a quick discussion because Liverpool lost again. I mean, we've already tried to fix Liverpool. No one's listening. But Man City lost and Arsenal capitalised for one of the first times. But the table now leaves Chelsea second. Some Chelsea fans might not believe that they are in a title race right now. And then there's also Man United, who could have been right up there, having they not lost to Everton tonight. That's finished 1-0 for those listening. We'll get on to the controversial red card in a few minutes. But give me both of your overriding views on, and don't just say Arsenal are going to win the league because that's obvious, but like the let's call it the chasing pack, if you will, and where things stand and who should be doing what. It's
very hard for Chelsea, I think, because they're trying to win games, but also they don't want to win too many games where people think they're in a title race. they're trying to manage the distance. So they've got a bit of a conundrum this week, because obviously if they lose, people will say to them they're not in a title race, which is not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to say to them that they are, so they can go, come on, we've been in title races. This isn't a title race. That's the way around it has to be. Yeah, but if we turn and go, you're not in a title race, they're not they've lost all the mystique.
Whoa, hey.
It might be.
Yeah, we'll decide who's in a title race around it.
It's only November. That's, so... no, there is no title race. It is what it is.
No, call it the chasing pack then, because I'm not
because they're not chasing. It's the peloton behind. They are so far behind. This will be a procession this season.
All right, well, let's say Chelsea beat Arsenal.
Who's finishing second? Is that what we're talking?
No, let's say Chelsea beat Arsenal on Sunday.
Then
it's a big possibility.
Okay, I'd say it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. Yeah, it's a really small possibility. So there's a slight chance. There is a chance. Listen, that gap just goes back down to 2 points.
Until
considering City win, until we batter them all again.
No, until you beat everyone else, because I don't disagree that Chelsea could beat Arsenal. I don't disagree that City could beat Arsenal. What I don't think is that anyone else could beat Arsenal, whereas everyone else can beat those two. And that's ultimately what's happening. City will struggle away from home. I said that at the beginning of the season, right? But what I didn't actually realise when I said that is I listened to Total Football podcast.
Didn't realise that Pep were listening.
No, what I didn't realise is
their away form is incredible.
If you look at their away form, it is outrageously bad. Like, I think there's only like one meaningful away win, like in the last 2 years, really. Like they are struggling against any top 8 side away from home, really.
It didn't used to lose that many though.
Nah. Yeah, they are not the same side. And then Chelsea are just patchy. Anyone who created a football manager team with loads of under 23s will know. You keep losing random games all of a sudden. You get infuriated by it. And that's because it's art imitating life. And that's what Chelsea are now. They are a team that, you know, financially is doing all the right things, but they don't have and won't get the experience in they need to actually try and win the league. So you've got this walk to the title. And
hopefully.
And that's what it is. And it's just one of them things.
Scott, I was asked a question over the weekend. I'm going to throw it back to you. Which of these managers should go first? Arne Slot or Thomas Frank?
Should go first or will go first?
Answer it however you want to.
Should go first is Slot. Slot should be fired tonight. He is. And I said this, and I've been saying it, that this guy isn't all that. And this guy isn't this like master tactician who came in and took the Premier League by storm. He's no Antonio Conte. He is a guy who inherited an okay team and a decent team with, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, really, really good players in all the right places of the pitch that you need when you're a new manager and you're learning things. Or new managers of the league, rather, should I say. And I think now it's the proof's in the pudding. He's been given a chance to mould his own team alongside Liverpool's board. And it ain't working. And he's spent a record amount of money in one window. It looks like they're going to try and sign Semenyo and Gahey in January. That'll take them...
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
If you think about this, like Clear Lake and Chelsea get a lot of flack for the money that they've spent. I hear 1.3 billion every 2 billion. I hear that all the time, right? But Liverpool are going to be on course to like almost match half of our spending in the space of a few months. And I find that I don't understand. Liam, we know as men in commercial positions, how often do the salesmen who don't meet their sales targets keep the jobs?
Do you know, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about Liverpool for a minute if I can. I think I work with a match-going Liverpool fan, and he's of the opinion that 60% of Anfield's turned on Slot. Like, they can see the match-going fan. He's like, nah, the guy's lost it. He's like, honestly, he said, when you sit and you watch it and he doesn't know what he's doing. And it was like, it's great. When it was good, it was good. But as soon as there's any kind of issues and problems, it's like, it's really, it puts it down to not being able to make big decisions around big players. So, for example, he talked about the right back problem. And he's like, okay, Frimpong's injured. What's he called? Conor Bradley's injured, right? Oh. But he's like, you've got Calvin Ramsey on the bench, right back who played midweek. And you've also got Andy Robertson on the bench, who, at his age, could easily play right back for a game. Like, he could do that. He's not living in the upside down in Strange Things. It's the same job, just in a slightly different place, right? So he could do it, but instead, because he doesn't trust Andy Robertson, and there's obviously something going on there, he plays Liverpool's best player this season, Szoboszlai, there, and then makes them worse in 2 places. And then won't react to things that are going on. Like, he won't hook Konate in the same way he hooked Kwanzaa. It's easy to hook Kwanzaa last season.
Yeah.
The guy's a kid. He has no social thing over it. That's an easy decision to make. Konate, in the last year of his contract, is a very different one to do. He really thinks he's lost the dressing room. Completely thinks he's lost it.
But who should and who will go first? I mean, I think I responded with, it's just Spurs just sack managers more regularly. So
yeah,
there's a chance, and like you said with Liverpool fans, Liam, Spurs fans are starting to turn a little bit.
It's
I mean,
outrageous, that, by the way. Like,
I agree.
I
said this, yeah.
You send him into a bin fire. And I'm not saying that... And look, that performance was honking at the weekend. But
Yeah.
they are better than they were last season by every single measure.
Yeah, agree again.
But, so to turn on Thomas Frank, when you've not given him anything near a sniff of a chance, would be outrageous. But that is what Spurs do. They press the implode button, don't they?
Right.
I don't know. They spent a lot of money again, though. Spent a lot of money, gave him a lot of new players. I assume all the ones that he wanted.
Terrible
maybe Bar.
money.
So it's, but again, Spurs do this every year. I say it all the time. They always win the transfer window and then they shit and they don't do anything. But you can't, again, you can't come into a new job. And everyone knew that Spurs' league position last year was a bit false. Like, they weren't the 17th shittest team.
Yeah, they were.
I don't know. I mean, that squad wasn't that bad.
Didn't they sneak
Is
to
what I
14th
mean.
in the end, to be fair?
No, that was United.
Oh,
United
was that the
somehow...
one of there was one of them scrubbers that did that.
No, I think Frank probably would go first because I think Liverpool might. Again, the problem comes. It's the age-old question: who is the guy who comes in if either of them get fired? I mean, Spurs have a bigger pool of people to pick from, I think, than Liverpool.
Yeah, because there's less people qualified for Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool would need if you're going to get rid of Slot. I don't think he wasn't really a name, was he? He was just, I don't know, the guy that they decided to bring in. I don't think he was.
I'll give you two names, Scott, and I think both would.
Go on.
I think let's say I don't think either get replaced now. Even if they go now, there'd be temporary people into the end of the season, right? But here's how I see it. Both of them. I see Conte at Liverpool.
Conte at Liverpool.
Yeah, I see them going the other way. Like let's get ourselves back competing straight away. Get a Firebrand type in that can handle the thing. So I see that happening. And at Tottenham, I see them going back to Pochettino after the World Cup.
Yeah, that's because there's this weird loving with Pochettino as well. It's weird.
Yeah, he's shocking.
Right, let's wrap it up. The last point. There was a controversial red card tonight in the Manchester United match. We could talk about it now that they have lost to 10 men Everton, basically all match. Let's all laugh at Man United. That's the best thing. But and it's something we haven't seen since, I think the commentator said Ricardo Fuller for Stoke, grabbing one of his own players. But Idrissa Gueye was sent off for slapping his own players, for anyone who's not seen it or hasn't seen the news this morning, because it will be everywhere, I'm sure, by now. Slapping Michael Keane around the face.
It's a baffling incident, isn't it?
It's
so
ridiculous. The big chat online immediately was that he shouldn't have been sent off.
Oh, I definitely should. I think they were very late in showing an angle of it. They showed an angle of it behind the goal very late on, like a good 10 minutes later, and I think that shut it down then. Because before that, you didn't actually see the contact to the face.
Yeah.
Then at the end, you saw it, and you see Michael Keane sort of, his face sort of flapped to the side. Anyone watching on YouTube will see my action there of me slapping myself across the face. But yeah, you see it generally does connect with him with a slap. So I mean, if the referee sees, the referee's 10 yards away, he has to send him off.
Straight red as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't even think about it or go and talk to him about it. He just goes, it's...
No Everton player
mate.
complains either. Weirdly, and I think this is part of the problem, Michael Keane almost applauds the decision. Like, he was there. He's given that to him.
He's basically telling... He's basically saying to Gueye, go on, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
I would.
Jordan Pickford was the voice of reason in all of this, for anyone who's not seen it.
Well,
it's staggering.
To be fair, I think he has... I mean, not to say this to Jordan Pickford, but he's a very different person, I think, Jordan Pickford now. But it was mad. It's the most Everton thing I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Just complete disregard for what they're trying to achieve there, which madly they've gone and won. So fair play to
yeah.
But
he's a lucky boy that they went on to win that game.
Yeah.
Because if they'd have lost on the back of that, which I was convinced that they would then get pumped.
He was getting a stuffing at full time by Moyes and the rest of the team. Like, if they'd have gone and lost that.
The funny thing is now they'll probably just laugh about it because they've won the game. They'll be like, don't fucking worry about it. It is what it is. Like, I mean, they'll lose him now for 3 games, I assume.
These two, they're always at it.
I don't know. Tarkowski was fuming, wasn't he? You could just see he was just going around like you said. It's like
I'd be fuming. Yeah, another one. You said the most Everton thing, but we've just witnessed arguably the most Man United thing of the last couple of years is in not being able to put together a win, playing against 10 men for 90 minutes.
The keeper,
85
this
minutes,
keeper's
whatever it
quietly
was.
going about his business by letting shots go past him quietly.
No, I'm going to blame the defence on that one, mate. He was not a great save, maybe bad positioning, but Dewsbury Hall just skips past Bruno and Lenny Oro, arguably Man United's two best players this season.
Class finish as well, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
he gets a very good connection. Very good player, isn't he? Very good to see him doing well as well.
Defence poor, Man United poor, and Fix It Forward podcast is amazing. Thank you everyone for listening. Please catch up with all our information at fixingforwardpodcast.com. You can find all the links for our social media handles, Instagram, X, YouTube especially. Please like, share, follow us on any platform where you listen to us. That's where we want to be seen. And we'll catch you up on the next one. Thanks everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Farewell.